Do you have a hard time trusting? Are you wary of putting your faith into something that you have no evidence is going to work out? Well, you're not alone. So let's get into it. Trust the process. Trust the process. I've been hearing that a lot lately, and I'm finally getting to that point where I am trusting the process. It hasn't been easy. It's been a long, hard. They had to drag me to this point to trust the process, but I'm here. Like, like so many of my revelations these days, this one started in physical therapy. So, I've been going to physical therapy for, oh my God, about 2 months now. For my broken arm, my shattered elbow. So I had my arm in a cast for 4 months. And when they took the cast off, my arm was pretty much stuck at like a 90-degree angle. I couldn't move my wrist. My shoulder was all messed up. My elbow was locked into place. It was not a pretty sight. So after the cast was off, I started physical therapy. Obviously, I needed it. I still do. And it was incredibly painful. And in the beginning, I saw very little, if any, improvement. And, I got a little depressed. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I was pretty depressed. I was beginning to think that I was not going to have full use of my arm for the rest of my life. And that was, that was bad. That was really bad. But now, as I've been trusting the process, as my therapist constantly reminds me, I'm seeing a lot of improvement, especially in the last couple of weeks. I got to be honest. I added in some yoga along with my physical therapy, and I've seen in the last 2 weeks. I think I've had more of an improvement than I have in the last maybe month and a half, and it was all because of, you guessed it, I trusted the process. I had to have some kind of faith in my physical therapist to believe that he knows what he's doing, right? And all these weird exercises and stretches and the pain that he's causing me is all for the good, right? It's all for my benefit. And I'm seeing the results now. Now, I'm still not where I want to be, obviously, but I'm so much better off than I was when I first started. I can use my arm again. I'm doing things a lot easier. Just washing dishes. Stuff like that. Getting dressed is so much easier. All this stuff because I, trusted the process. And I came to the realization that if your information is good and if your strategy is good, then the outcome's going to be okay, right? The things are going to work out in your favor. Like take this podcast, for example. Now, I've just been seriously doing it on a daily basis just this week, right? And I got to be honest with you, not a whole lot of listens to each episode, right? And every day, literally every day, I wake up and I check the stats, and it's like, okay, well, maybe the next one. But again, I know, like I said, my information is good, my strategy is good. And I'm putting out content that I feel my audience, my ideal audience, right, is going to enjoy. It's just going to take some time, right? I got to, trust the process that I've been saying. I got to believe that what I'm doing eventually will take off, will resonate with enough people to where I'm building a pretty decent audience for this little podcast. But right now, the results aren't there. And, I do wonder sometimes if if I'm doing the right thing. But I also know it's only been, a week. So it's going to take some time before I, dethrone Joe Rogan as the world's #1 podcaster. But, I'm coming for you, Joe. And this also has me thinking about a passage from the Bhagavad Gita. All right. I don't know if any of you read it, but it's a pretty cool little allegory, little story. But anyway, in it, Lord Krishna is talking to Prince Arjuna, right? And they're on the battlefield, and Krishna is basically telling Arjuna, look, you got to focus on the work at hand, which is going to war. You can't worry about what the outcome's going to be, right? Because he's going to war against his cousins. And of course, he's worried about what's going to happen if he, defeats his cousins and kills his cousins, what's going to happen to the kingdom, to his family, all this stuff. And Krishna's telling him, look, don't worry about all that stuff. Worry about the task at hand. And the quote that I have for you here is, Krishna says to him, you have the right to work, but never to the fruit of work. Okay? So think about that for a second. You have the right to work, but not the fruit of that work. So when I'm thinking about this podcast or whatever I'm doing the work, but I don't necessarily have the right to, not necessarily the fame, but the recognition of my work, right? Of a big audience, of people praising me and all that stuff. That may or may not happen, but at the moment, all I can do is do the work. In the previous episode, I talked about the gamification that I do every day, right? The mind, body, and business thing. And I got to tell you, I just focus on doing those things every single day. I don't really worry if I'm doing them right or, any of that stuff. I just do them. And at the end of the day, I'm pretty surprised at the amount of things I've accomplished in that space of time. And I can already tell that this week is going to be one of the best weeks I've had in a long time as far as getting things done and moving my business and my life and my health forward. And it all comes back to those 3 little words, trust the process. So hopefully, if you're one of the 5 people that listens to this podcast at the moment, just trust the process, whatever you're doing. Like I said, as long as your information and your strategy, if they're both sound, then the results are going to be pretty beneficial. So that's all I got for this episode. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other because we're all we got. See you soon.